Hello everyone, I am Kurz, this is Low Manor and welcome to Comicwatch, the series where we look into the lore and speculation around Blizzard's Overwatch comics. Today, you join me as I look into the lore and speculation surrounding the first, and usually the more overlooked of the two comics Blizzard made for Anna's release, Legacy. To set the scene, this is the only comic we've seen, indeed the only brief story we've seen at all, set during the height of Overwatch as global leaders and law enforcers. It does seem relatively safe to say that it's towards the end of that period, however, with the obvious age of Anna here. Greying, but still very slightly, would be the description I'd use, given she's able to easily manoeuvre herself around the battlefield throughout the fight. We knew from early on that Overwatch expanded their spheres of influence after the Omnic crisis, and here we have some light on the military peacekeeping side of that. They are still actively recruiting at this point, with the legends taking the place of both role models and leaders, in Anna's case with some level of reluctancy. Timelines, as ever with Overwatch, are vague and open to interpretation, but it's likely given Widow's presence and Anna's appearance that at best she's early 50s here, possibly older, and has therefore been fighting for nigh on 3 decades. Be that in the Egyptian army, against the Omnics, or in her role as second in command of Overwatch, she has grown weary of her role. I'd guess she's mostly alone in this feeling out of her original colleagues. Reinhardt lives for combat and to protect the innocent, Torbjorn has his own personal quest, and the duo of Morrison and Reyes were born soldiers, and artificially enhanced beyond even that. Maybe that's why Jack still looks pretty young here. Anna's motivation was always different, seeing her colleagues as her family, and only ever wanting to protect them, knowing that that meant killing Overwatch's enemies, even while it meant depriving another family somewhere in the world of a loved one. She seems to know the names of every member here, and I'd feel safe in guessing this extended to even the newest, rawest recruit in the ranks. While a few of the guys in this comic are taken out by Widow, we know at least a few survive, and do so even to the present day. From the obvious candidate in Morrison, we also have Kimeko and Mirembe, who are both present on the list of agents that Winston attempts to recall, and you can be sure that he and Athena would know if they died in the meantime. Do you think we'll see them in future stories? Maybe even in-game at some point? Anna mentions the notches on her rifle twice, both from the admiration of a recruit through to the sadness of adding to them. She keeps them as a reminder of every life she has had to take, rather than as a trophy count, and everyone impacts her deeply. We see her natural familial instinct reciprocated by the Overwatch troops, referring to her as Mama Bear, and this fits with everything we learned about her in her origin story and her devotion to her daughter Faria, wanting only a better world for her to grow up in, but not wanting her to have to fight and kill. For these reasons, she keeps her kills as quick and clean as possible, not wanting anyone to suffer needlessly. Her natural skill with the rifle allows her to do this, but it seems like it's greatly enhanced by her cybernetic eye. This seems to only be in her right eye from what I can tell, so I'll assume this means that the Anna we have in game is aiming purely with her natural ability. I'd be intrigued to know when she got this modification, however. Was it in the Egyptian army before the crisis, or was it an Overwatch innovation? More importantly, did the design of the eye have any part in keeping her alive following the fallout of this comic? I'd put good money on most people that take a high caliber round to the eye not surviving, so I could see the combination of scope and eye being the reason Anna is still around today. In her x-ray we can see shards of something scattered around the eye socket. Are these the shards of the scope, or the remains of the eye perhaps? The location and the purpose of this mission is something I find really quite intriguing about this comic, and it's definitely something I'd like to see explored further somehow. The world under Overwatch has always been described as living under a golden age of prosperity and advancement, but this place, wherever it is, looks like a complete war zone. Most buildings are in various stages of collapse, cars lie abandoned, and beyond the active members of the comic, there aren't any civilians visible. This is many years after the Omnic crisis concluded, but could it be that an area simply hasn't been repaired yet? It seems unlikely to me. Could Talon have caused all this devastation? If so, at least they left the Sang billboard up. I'm sure Arnold appreciates it. Moreover, what exactly do we think Talon were after here? They look extremely similar to the Talon of the modern era, but you have to assume that they had to operate somewhat differently, given the presence of Overwatch versus the almost complete freedom they enjoy now. They were still after secret research even back then though, in this case what Morrison only refers to as the project. As he's there and knows whatever it is can't fall into Talon's hands, I'd also assume that this was an Overwatch project, and those are Overwatch contracted or employed scientists. This is yet another thing that doesn't chime with Talon's description as a simple terrorist organisation. Everything we see about them seems a lot more well-funded and ambitious than that moniker warrants. Is this yet another thing that harks back to the global conspiracy, or are there other pieces of the puzzle we're missing? Finally, onto Amelie, aka Widowmaker. At this point, Overwatch is simply aware of a new Talon sniper that moves like lightning. Following Gerard's death, they assumed Amelie's disappearance was related only insofar that she was probably also dead, but to me this conclusion seems an odd one to have reached. They must have found Gerard dead, so why presume Amelie kidnapped and killed? If Talon were going to kill her, why not leave her body with Gerard? If kidnap, to what purpose? With Gerard out of the picture, she's no longer worth much. Were Talon getting one over on Overwatch even back then? Or is this a sign of the coming fall of Overwatch that they were fooled so easily? Either way, this is Widowmaker near the very start of her career as Talon's top agent, presumably not long after finishing her training in medical alteration. At this point, Anna is still the better sniper, with years of experience to call on, and she accordingly gets the first shot, despite Widow's best efforts. Her guilt at losing members of her family, and possibly even a deal of ego at being outdone by a rival sniper, lead to her ignoring Morrison's orders, something I doubt she ever did often before this. Nevertheless, she pulls off an amazing headshot via ricocheting off a wall. Whether due to the velocity loss from the ricochet or the armoured helmet, or a combination of both, Widow survives unscathed but unmasked. The mask looks like it could be an early prototype of the one she wears now. The quick glimpse of Amelie Lacroix's face is enough to shock Anna, and generates maybe a second of weakness, more than long enough for Widow to land what should, and was thought by many to have been, the killing shot in return. I'll leave you with a final thought. Why did Overwatch presume Anna's death? Surely they would have returned for Anna and the others once the mission was secured. If Bayless and Al Farouk and the other bodies were recovered, hers would not have been, she wasn't dead. But why presume her death then? Why would Morrison not move hell and high water to find his trusted second in command, and more importantly, his friend? Thanks for watching this episode of Comicwatch, and as always, all thoughts, feelings and theories in the comments below are very welcome. I'll be copying Blizzard and following this up with Comicwatch for Old Soldiers in the coming days, so keep an eye out for that, although the Christmas event may disrupt things a little bit. You can check out Anna's story and her Lorewatch here, along with another vid that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. Until next time, I've been Kurz, thanks for watching.